High school sports fans, are you following Varsity Media on our YouTube channel? For the best coverage of New York high school sports, make sure you head to youtube.com/varsitymedia. 3 easy steps. First, hit that like button, and then be sure to subscribe. And finally, tap that yellow bell to be notified of all of our upcoming sportscasts. Thank you for following Varsity Media on YouTube.
Maspeth Federal Savings is here through it all. The ins and outs, the ups and downs. Through the winters, the summers, and even the spring of leaks, know that Maspeth has your back. From luxury sheets to balance sheets to dancing under the stars, your mission is our mission. And when our community calls, we proudly step forward. So whether you need it now or planning for tomorrow, through all the twists and all the turns, you can always find us right here in your neighborhood.
Established in 2016, Supreme Hoops Training has trained over 500 athletes ranging from youth, high school, college, and pro. Based in Queens, New York, Supreme Hoops Training aims to provide high-level basketball skill development in New York City. With multiple trainers on staff, they offer training programs that are tailored to all skill levels. Their goal is to develop talent and to continue getting players results. Book a session today at supremehoopstraining.com.
St. Francis Prep High School in Fresh Meadows, Queens. It is a battle of 2 contenders this year as the Eagles of St. Peter's come to Queens to take on the Terriers of St. Francis Prep. We welcome you inside the gymnasium here at St. Francis Prep. Dylan Butler alongside John Perez, and John, should be a real fun one. Listen, if you like your defense played aggressively and physically, this is the game for you.
This is 100% the game, and it's defending on different levels of the floor, Dylan. You've got Kadir Martin down low, who we'll talk about, some of the best centers, Osmana Sacco as well. But then you've got great perimeter defending as well, and help defense, which I love. You step into the passing lanes, but also, if you can't defend out in the perimeter, you got a safety net. If you can't defend down low, you've got your 2 perimeter guys that can defend. Perfect day for defense.
Listen, there used to be an old adage about Staten Island basketball being soft. That is not the case with these Eagles, man. They will play hard. They're going to defend the perimeter, and you got the big man inside, Kadir Martin. Listen, this is one of the better teams in the Catholic League. Certainly, you've got Stepanak out on top of everybody. Christ King maybe just behind them. But these 2 teams are right in the mix of other teams, maybe another 4 or 5 teams who can make some noise in March. And there you see the Eagles. They're coming off an impressive win on the road. Listen, anytime you win on the road in the Catholic League, it's a big win. They defeated Zavarian on the road. And again, their bread and butter in this one was hard defense, and they got things going offensively in the second half.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There are going to be nights where your shot's just not falling at all. And when your shot's not falling at all, that means that you have to defend. And when you have that established defense in there where you're consistently defending on a night-in, night-out basis, you're going to win some ball games, and that's a big reason why both of these teams can make some noise come March.
One thing I love about this matchup, and we'll delve deeper into it as we get along, but it's the individual matchups inside of it, right? You've got 2 point guards in this game. Michael Spisto for St. Peter's, Veer Anthony for St. Francis Prep, 2 guys who are 3-year starters, 2 guys who live and die playing hard-nosed defense. And then you get the battle inside. Big Osmana Sacco for St. Francis Prep and Kadir Martin for St. Peter's. Now, Kadir's got the age, right? If Sacco's a young pup, well, he's the junkyard dog who's been here for a few years. But Kadir Martin, Michael Spisto, 2 major impact players here this afternoon for St. Peter's.
Yeah, there they are right there. And, we've been talking about defense till the cows come home you have to distribute as well, and there's nobody better that does that for St. Peter's than Spisto, averaging 7 assists per game. That's not easy because that means you have to set up your teammates to take those shots and knock them down. So that's why St. Peter's is so deep, and then you've got Martin down low. Interesting to see how Jimmy Lynch is going to defend him. We'll talk about it later on in the broadcast, but when he's on the block or under the hoop, it's not easy to stop him.
St. Francis Prep coming off a rare home defeat in the league, losing to upstart Nazareth, up this year from the A to the AA. And it was a game when we spoke with Jimmy Lynch yesterday. He said, listen, Nazareth, they value the basketball. Every possession was important. He didn't feel that was the case for his team. Expecting a big bounce-back afternoon today from the Terriers.
And there's no better time to bounce back than 48 hours later. If this was a loss that had happened with a 4 or 5 day respite, then you're sitting on it for that time. Practices are a little harder. For a veteran team like St. Francis Prep that knows what it takes to win, it's good to just flush it away on to the next one. If the Terriers come out this weekend 1-1, considering the loss to Nazareth, they would take that as a victory.
And as we know, as we stated in our previous SPORTSCAST where they took on Christ the King, a lot is on the shoulders of both Veer Anthony and the very broad shoulders of Osmana Sacco. Certainly two key guys in this game, and Sacco especially as that maybe Kadir Martin answer inside.
100%. That's going to be the fun. If you like old-time basketball and two centers going at it, Sacco, who can shoot it a little bit too from the mid-range, which will be fun to see. But Veer Anthony's the straw that stirs the drink. He's the big catalyst for St. Francis Prep, the reason why they've had success this year too. Dishing 5 dimes per game. He does so many things well, and obviously you see the points and the assists, but it's what doesn't show up in the stat sheet. He's a prototypical captain, always rallying his team on and keeps them in a game, provides a ton of energy for this Terrier bunch.
And energy, maybe that's one of the keys to this game. Let's take a look at those now. John, as we spoke with both coaches leading up to this one, and listen, certainly energy and effort will be huge here this afternoon.
And if you look at the points on both of the first points on both teams, match the physicality and get out on the glass. Yes, this game's going to be one in the trenches down low, and pretty simple, right? You have to contain Veer Anthony. If you're St. Peter's, well, you've got to contain Kadir Martin if you are St. Francis Prep as well. Speed it up. Make Kadir Martin get up and down the floor, tire him out, tire out the rest of the bigs. And, of course, how can each player have an impact? This game is for anybody. We'll see who steps up outside of our spotlighted players.
St. Peter's, among the teams in the AA this year, no team averages less points given up per game, just over 51 points a game. So, and we know St. Francis Prep loves playing in the 50s and 60s, so it'll be an interesting one from that perspective. We'll take a look now at the Crown Ref officials here this afternoon. Really good crew. Anthony Carnaccio, Jimmy Nolan, and Kevin Agee. Of course, improve your officiating with Crown Refs, the ultimate resource for basketball officials. Explore their podcasts and daily videos on all social platforms and join the Crown Refs community. Simply go to patreon.com/Crown Refs. Serve the game. So it's St. Francis Prep and St. Peter's. Actually, as we have a couple minutes here, it's interesting because these two teams met in a similar situation last year. It was a Sunday afternoon. It was two teams that were trying to find their way just below maybe those favorites. And what a win it was for St. Francis Prep. We'll bring you back to last year's game. And wouldn't it be nice for Jimmy Lynch to have Josh Pasquarelli back for another game, or to drop 38 points in that one, 5 rebounds, a couple of assists. Look at Tyler Michelle. He's that guy, that X factor maybe here today for the Terriers. 11 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. And Kadir Martin, that's kind of his regular stat line, right? That's not an up game for Martin. 12 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 blocks.
Well, and what's interesting about St. Francis Prep, they are talented. On paper, they might not, and of course, the rankings that are out there, all these publications, they might not have those 5-star guys that other programs have. But they have a synergy together that when they are clicking on all cylinders and they're collaborating as a team, that makes them really tough. And you can say the same thing about St. Peter's. Sometimes when I look at St. Peter's this year is how I looked at St. Francis Prep last year. Looking to take that next step, could get to the semifinals in the intersectional. There's no reason to count out St. Peter's, a team that has a lot of energy. They've got fantastic bigs and a good guard set. I don't think any team, Christ the King or Stepinac, would want to play these teams early on in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Should be a fun one here this afternoon in Fresh Meadows. It's St. Peter's, St. Francis Prep opening tip when we return right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Maspeth Federal Savings is here through it all. The ins and outs, the ups and downs. Through the winters, the summers, and even the spring leaks. Know that Maspeth has your back. From luxury sheets to balance sheets to dancing under the stars, your mission is our mission. And when our community calls, we proudly step forward. So whether you need it now or planning for tomorrow, through all the twists and all the turns, you can always find us right here in your neighborhood.
Brian Harrington is the owner and head performance coach of Harrington Sports Performance and Transform Fitness and Recovery located in Tuckahoe, New York. Currently, Brian and his team have been contracted by multiple schools and for over the past 15 years to provide high-level strength and conditioning and performance training to their athletes. Brian works with basketball players from NYC's highest level talent down to the grassroots level. You can message him on his social media at Harrington_performance and use promo code HSP1 in the message details for a discount on an initial evaluation.
My name is Grant Vermeer, a member of the Crown Refs community. My first year as a high school official, that's when I found out about the Crown Refs community. Having my military background, I love being a part of teams. I want to be a part of a group that has high standards, that holds each other accountable, but also supports and loves each other, and has a desire for everyone in the group to grow. If you're a young referee or someone who loves refereeing and wants to be a part of a group, this is an amazing community for you. I feel like I've gotten better as an official. I've had a community and friends and support through this process, which can otherwise be a little bit lonely as you're on the road a lot. The culture is amazing in here. Make sure to come check it out.
Established in 2016, Supreme Hoops Training has trained over 500 athletes ranging from youth, high school, college, and pro. Based in Queens, New York, Supreme Hoops Training aims to provide high-level basketball skill development in New York City. With multiple trainers on staff, they offer training programs that are tailored to all skill levels. Their goal is to develop talent and to continue getting players results. Book a session today at supremehoopstraining.com.
Maspeth Federal Savings is here through it all. The ins and outs, the ups and downs. Through the winters, the summers, and even the spring leaks. Know that Maspeth has your back. From luxury sheets to balance sheets to dancing under the stars, your mission is our mission. And when our community calls, we proudly step forward. So whether you need it now or planning for tomorrow, through all the twists and all the turns, you can always find us right here in your neighborhood.
Hey, we welcome you back to St. Francis Prep High School. Dylan Butler, John Perez, our entire varsity media crew here for this one between St. Peter's. The visitors making their way, long trek from Staten Island. Better to do it on a Sunday afternoon, though, certainly than a Friday evening. We mentioned the Eagles just coming off kind of a battle of a bridge of sorts, right? Taking on Zavarian and Bay Ridge just off the Verrazano Bridge, and big Friday night win for the Eagles. We mentioned it in the open a little bit. 55-49 was the win for St. Peter's. Kadir Martin in that one. The stat line we showed is pretty much what he did in that game as well. 12 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 blocks. And Michael Spizto, 7 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. A really terrific overall effort for the point guard. Let's take a look at the starting lineups brought to you by Maspeth Federal. First, for the visitors from St. Peter's, and there is their straw that stirs the drink, Michael Spizto, joined by Jalen Munson, Jarrell Monroe, Maddox LaPierre, and the big man in the middle. Maybe not a better shot blocker, John Perez, than Kadir Martin in the Catholic League.
No, certainly not, and it's one thing to be tall, but it's another thing to be a fantastic basketball player, and what he is. He's got good footwork, reads the shots well off the rim, He's one of those guys, if you remember in the Last Dance documentary, Dennis Rodman talking about rebounding and things like that. He certainly mastered it at the high school level.
Yeah, he's a guy who, throughout the entire MAC, they love him. And that's a great level, I think, for him on the next level to play at it. An opportunity, just like Josh Pasquarelli at Marist, to really thrive in the MAC Athletic Conference. Now the Terriers starting lineup again. This is brought to you by Maspeth Federal. And a little bit of a change here, and that's the change. Nigel Moore joining the starting five. And again, in our conversation with Jimmy Lynch, it was kind of deciding how maybe St. Peter's looks, maybe a bit of a smaller team. You go small on that. But the other guys, Vier Anthony, Troy Faison, Tyler Michelle, and Osmana Sacco, regular starters, of course, for the Terriers.
I always find it interesting with coaches, and of course they're their own animals and they're their own breeds. When they talk about a starting five and how they're not locked into it, we know that Moore is going to play a lot, and we know that whoever Moore is starting for will also be playing a ton of starters minutes anyway. So it doesn't matter, but I do like that smaller lineup to speed up St. Peter's.
See the quick look inside the St. Francis huddle, and it was interesting. They lose here Friday night to Nazareth, and Jimmy Lynch says, I cannot wait to get back to practice. It's one of those things where you don't want that to loom days and like have a cloud over your program. So this is kind of perfect. He probably would have taken playing yesterday, but a Sunday afternoon game after a tough Friday night loss could be that perfect recipe.
Probably would have wanted to play Friday night right afterward. Just run it straight back. No, you're right. No better time than to just look forward. And this weekend with a split if you're St. Francis Prep, and this is just a tough league. And, Nazareth, a very good team. We saw what they do at the lower level. It's translating up top. And so St. Francis Prep looking for a little redemption.
And already a little bit of a change from our starting lineup. We see it's not Sacco in the starting five. It's actually Hao Chen, a guy who just has a terrific basketball IQ. And his job right now is trying to defend Kadir Martin. There's Martin at the foul line, spins it inside, tries to kick it out. Good defense early on by St. Francis Prep.
This is exactly where they want Martin to take the ball outside on the perimeter, keep him away from the hoop.
Jarrell Monroe, and a charge is called against the senior.
Morel, a guy that's not easy to, Monroe, not an easy guy to take a charge on, 6'5" senior. Someone who has really taken his game to the next level offensively.
We see man-to-man defense from St. Francis Prep. Same is true here of St. Peter's. Taking the handoff is Faison. And there's Vier Anthony up top. Interesting there, too. It's not Spizto on Anthony, so you're not going point guard for point guard. Lefty layup, no good. How about that rebound and put back as the Terriers have taken the lead.
Yeah, good job on the follow right there. Tap it right back in. St. Francis Prep off to a good start.
And a steal. Another opportunity. And look at Spizto. The effort. And that's why Vier Anthony and Spizto, I think, are kind of mirror images of each other.
Yeah, no, and that's a big reason why. And Spizto, he just checks all the boxes, and that's what you want, a good gritty guard from SI.
Nice spin move down low. And Faison with the finish.
Faison, only a sophomore nearby Springfield Gardens. Just a dynamite two-way player. Good job pressuring and applies the pressure on offense.
Pull up. There's Monroe for two.
Somebody that you could just plug in there. He'll get a hoop. Breaks the seal for St. Peter's.
So 23, we had him as 11 in our starting lineup graphic, and honestly in our roster as well, but that's Nigel Moore. Here's Michelle, top of the key, three, front rim, and Moore. Look at the rebounds, gets inside, battles the bigs, but he can't finish it. Spizto, up and under, handoff, and this one is a block. It's on Chen.
Chen did everything he can to try and draw that offensive foul. It was not the case, and not easy when you've got one of the top bigs, Martin, barreling down at you. I thought it was interesting in the conversation with Ryan Woods that when we asked him who his unsung hero was, he said it's Kadir Martin. And here's Martin coming down the hill again, and, it's like a freight train right off the rails, and Chen did all that he could, but unfortunately couldn't draw the charge. And when your best player is your unsung hero, I'm not sure how to take that as he nails both free throws, but either way, he's somebody else that can make a play when you need and maybe have a quiet 10-10 game.
And again, as you make the comparisons with the teams, you've got the letter battle inside, right? It's Q versus O. Here's Anthony, missed the bunny inside. Spizto feeds the big man down low. Kick out. 3 off rim, no good. Faison gets the rebound. Transition offense is one of the keys, and that's where Faison does his best work.
Love the little English there. He's really grown as a basketball player. Two-sport athlete. Didn't play a lot of football this year. Was battling an injury, but in basketball shape and a big part for St. Francis' success.
His aggression is certainly something I think that next level the college coaches will love to see. Moore thought about it, gets it back to Faison, kicks it down low. Hao Chen.
Wasn't really a catch-and-shoot guy a year ago, and that's his first shot, and it's one thing to build confidence. You start to see it go down in a game. It's something he was working on in practice this year, and he gets his first of the afternoon.
Martin puts it on the floor. One thing you certainly love from Kadir Martin, he doesn't force anything. He lets the game kind of come to him, in and out, three-pointer by Monroe, and Anthony comes down with the rebound. Goes end to end, and Anthony gets 2.
Dylan, you talk about a guy that waits for things to come to him on one end. Well, Anthony says, I'm going to take control of this puppy, and gets the deuce for St. Francis Prep as they have a 6-point lead with 4:14 to go.
30-second timeout for St. Peter's. This winter, Varsity Media is proud to announce our partnership with Gipper, the #1 social media content creation platform for athletic programs. There's thousands of the best social media sports graphic templates, social media automation, AI-powered one-click background removal, a mobile app for easy content creation on the go. To learn more, visit www.gipper.com. Early goings here, about midway through first quarter. St. Francis Prep, a 6-point advantage on a Sunday afternoon in Fresh Meadows. We know you have some other viewing possibilities, so we are thankful you're able to join us here for this one.
We still got 24 hours till The Bachelor, so I think we'll be okay.
Was that what they were looking to?
That's what I was looking for. We had 32 women this year, Dylan. It's insane. That's like St. Francis Prep enrollment type numbers. Well, per class, right? Or
sure.
It's 40.
I mean, one of the largest, if
it is the largest.
It still
is, yes.
It was when I was here. I know that. Spizto down low. Kadir Martin to finish. He wants the foul, but he'll get the 2 inside. The strength of Kadir Martin. Anthony steps out. This is a deep 2. 1 foot was on the line. Offensive rebounding. That was another thing that Jimmy Lynch, the St. Francis Prep coach, pointed out was important. Faison off the Chen screen. Back rim, no good. Loose ball. Look at Nigel Moore battling for it. It's loose. There's a fumble on the court. And the jump ball is called. St. Francis Prep possession.
Well, we've been mentioning Martin's name a lot, and deservedly so, through the first quarter, but it's really up to Jarrell Monroe, that other forward, to grab rebounds as well for St. Peter's and box out. There's only so much that Martin can do, and he is the big reason why St. Peter's does so well on the glass, but you also need a collective rebounding effort, too.
MJ Ford just checked in for St. Peter's. The transfer from Stepanak just became eligible in January. Tyler Michelle from 3. 13-6 the lead for the Terriers. And there is foul line. No, good defense. Back out to Spizto. Finds his spot on the floor and knocks down the jumper.
Spisto, just the guy, 3-year starters, taking it to the next level and not afraid to draw up his own shot either.
Yeah, that's a nice guy to have running your ship, that is for sure. Chen steps out, front rim 3. Rebound goes to St. Peter's and Ford. Baseline, what a look for Kadir Martin.
Interesting, Martin didn't go for the slam there, but either way, enough English to put it in there. And St. Peter's trying to get Martin a little bit more involved offensively. You get him going on the offensive end, it'll contribute on defense.
He's got 6 of his team's 10. Anthony, nice switch. And a Michelle 3 from the other side.
Just a pure shooter, averaging 9.5 points a game. And when you got a pretty stroke like that, it could be a long day for St. Peter's.
Ford, fake the 3, baseline, jumper. Pretty stuff from MJ Ford. A guy who scored 10 points off the bench in that win at Zavarian on Friday night. Michelle the kick out, Faison the pump fake off the mark. Now St. Peter's looking to run, and how about Faison? Some guys would sulk off a miss like that. Faison hustles back and gets his hand in the passing lane as some substitutions now for St. Francis Prep. Nolan Raymond, Ethan Butler both check in. Spisto, scoop layup, no good. Butler the rebounds. Nice dump down low, Faison. Anthony tried to force it though, trying to get it to Butler. We go the other way. Ford for 2.
That all started with Salu Diokane and getting in the passing lane, causing the turnover, and the Eagles are able to cash in.
Michelle, front rim, gets his own rebound. Kick out, another 3 attempt, another front rim. Loose ball rebound will go to St. Peter's.
Really like the tempo that we're seeing so far. And St. Peter's has gotten open shots. I thought that they've defended at an average pace so far. Certainly down from what they expect too, but they haven't made it easy for Anthony either. You've seen others get involved, and that, of course, being part of the scout for the Eagles.
Kadir Martin on the baseline. Kicks it out. And there's Munson. Munson, tough one in the lane, no good. Michelle just shepherds it out of bounds. So it'll be St. Francis Prep ball, 35 seconds, 35-5. So it's a 0.5 second differential from shot clock to game clock. So we expect the Terriers most likely here to hold for the last of this first quarter. Faison to Michelle. Guarded by Diokane. Faison.
Love to see if there's an elevator screen here or horns action or something.
Good defense by Ford, making it difficult on Faison. 5 seconds. Faison goes. Scoop layup. No good, but a foul was called underneath.
Well, just a good job attacking the basket there by Faison. It looked like there was no scripted play out there for St. Francis Prep. It was just find an open lane and let Faison do what he can do. And at the very least, draws the foul. And a confident free throw shooter headed to the line.
In one of our earlier conversations with Jimmy Lynch, he said, sometimes I marvel at the fact Troy Faison's just a sophomore. He forgets that. He forgets how young he actually is. And that's a credit, certainly, to the way Faison is able to just seamlessly transition really from grade school to the varsity. Knocks down the first.
Well, grade school only being 3 years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say transition from the younger levels, but he didn't play younger level. He came right up as a freshman last year. So he knocks down both. Final second. Three-quarter court shot was off the mark by Spisto. So St. Francis Prep leads it by 4. 1 quarter in the books. You're watching it right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
This is Jalen Brunson. You're watching Varsity Media.
Maspeth Federal Savings is here through it all. The ins and outs, the ups and downs. Through the winters, the summers, and even the spring of leaks. Know that Maspeth has your back. From luxury sheets to balance sheets to dancing under the stars, your mission is our mission. And when our community calls, we proudly step forward. So whether you need it now or planning for tomorrow, through all the twists and all the turns, you can always find us right here in your neighborhood.
Back here at St. Francis Prep, there's a look inside the St. Peter's huddle, and there you see their second year. Head coach Ryan Woods was a former Jakes Award winner back in his day, playing for St. Peter's, playing for that great Charlie Driscoll. 2007-8 was part of back-to-back Staten Island High School League championship teams. Went on, played at Pace, and then NJIT, and this, he says, is his dream job.
A lot of guys try to, coach at the next level or have aspirations to go at a higher level. Sometimes it's just guiding your alma mater to the promised land. That's what he's trying to do. And he was a heck of a college player as well. Good guard at Pace, moved up to the Division I level, and was part of an upstart NJIT team. He was, a player that only played for a year, but certainly contributed a lot. And I think he adds a different perspective for some of these kids that are fielding between D2 and D1 offers.
Look down low. Missing that shot was Diokane, the junior. Kind of that swing 3-4. Good athleticism from Diokane. It'll be St. Peter's ball, and they'll reset the shot clock. Diokane inside. Good defense by Butler. And now the Terriers out and running. Veer Anthony, rejection. And that's the younger of the Martin brothers, Talib.
What a great job getting down the floor for Talib. Didn't play a lot in the first quarter, if at all, and really good job filling his lane and getting back on defense.
Michelle fakes the three, drives the lane, no good. Ethan Butler cannot grab the rebound, and it goes to St. Peter's. Munson, and you mentioned Talib, Ryan Woods very high on the freshman. Listen, you know the bloodlines are great with Kadir leading the way, and you can just see too from his legs, right? He still has a lot to fill out that frame, number 13, but has the ability to be special in a very special league.
Yeah, called him a superior athlete, and already starting at third base, he's only a freshman.
Munson, they swing it up top to Ford. Deep three. Off the mark, Veer Anthony tracks the rebound down. Surveys the situation. Gets to the Ethan Butler. Tries to shake Martin. Easier said than done. Michelle finds a cutting Raymond. And that's one, it's a kick ball. It'll stay with St. Francis. That's one I think, John, you want to see Raymond put that one up.
Yeah, and that's something, too, that when you're coming off the bench, sometimes there could be a little hesitancy right there. You don't want to throw up a bad shot, but it's not a bad shot. Take the open look, and something that Raymond probably feels he should have back.
There's Chen up top. We're seeing a deeper rotation from St. Francis Prep than we're usually seeing, but one person we've not seen yet is Osmana Sacco. Probably the only player I think we've yet to see in this one for the Terriers. So interesting to note. Off the handoff, here's MJ Ford. To Munson. Splits the defense, spins in the lane, attacks Chen. No good. The ball, though, tips off of Chen, and it will stay with the Eagles, and they bring in Big Q. So Kadir Martin and Spizdo come back in. Diakone and Munson to the bench. So now the two Martin brothers together on the court.
Both of them on the perimeter.
Yeah. Spizdo has his options. Gets it to Q. Martin, tough shot in the lane.
You know, there's not much more that you can do if you're Hao Chen, beautifully defended, but that's what Martin does. He can put you on a platter, score the hoop, and St. Peter's would love to get him going.
8 for Martin. And Veer Anthony, his second bucket of this one.
And of course, when you always look up, there's Veer Anthony making a play.
Spisto this time guarded by Anthony. Martin trying to post. You see there one of the different looks, and you pose that question to Jimmy Lynch. How do you defend Kadir Martin? And Talib Martin gets the putback.
Well, they defended Kadir. It was Talib that was the issue there. But for St. Francis Prep, you take that because you don't want the ball in Kadir Martin's hand. Keep him out on the perimeter. Don't keep him down low.
And Big O, Osmana Sacco now getting to the scorer's table. Look down low. Good defense. The strip by Moore. Faison for 3 off the mark. And Kadir Martin gets the rebound ahead of the field to Spisto. Spisto tried to get it to Talib off the mark, and now our first look today at Big Osmana Sacco.
Well, just a great option to have off the bench. Certainly the defensive energy that he brings and a good presence and a little bit of a mid-range jumper too. He, like Faison, you have to pinch yourself and say, wow, these guys are only sophomores.
And even Veer Anthony right now on the ball. He's still a junior. Gets his own rebound, looks underneath. Another rebound attempt, and this time it goes the other way. Here's Spisto. Anthony, ball hawks, diving on the floor. Faison as well. An awful loss. John, you love to see that if you're Jimmy Lynch. Big O down low, back rim. And now Spisto checks the rear view. Hands off, 3-point. Jack Clancy.
Clancy's just got such a smooth stroke. He's only averaging 5 points a game. I'm surprised that number doesn't elevate, but if you give him space, he can knock it down.
And now St. Peter's has a 21-20 lead. Faison looks for options. Gets it to his left. Faison attacks. No foul, we go the other way. Spisto inside, Big Q against Big O. This will be a jump. And the possession arrow favors the Terriers.
Well, I liked Spisto coming back, trying to draw the tie up over there. That's a possession that St. Peter's feels they should have had a bucket there, had the numbers. A good job by St. Francis Prep coming over and rotating.
3:27 left, first half. 1-point ball game. Back after this on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's premier high school sports network. Brian Harrington is the owner and head performance coach of Harrington Sports Performance and Transform Fitness and Recovery located in Tuckahoe, New York. Currently, Brian and his team have been contracted by multiple schools and for over the past 15 years to provide high-level strength and conditioning and performance training to their athletes. Brian works with basketball players from NYC's highest level talent down to the grassroots level. You can message him on his social media at Harrington_performance and use promo code HSP1 in the message details for a discount on an initial evaluation.
Welcome back to St. Francis Prep. Dylan Butler, John Perez, our entire Varsity Media crew here for a Sunday matinee in the Catholic League. St. Peter's making the trip from Staten Island. They've got a 21-20 lead over St. Francis Prep. Second half of the second quarter. And it's been a fun one to this point, John.
It's been fun. It's been a good up and down pace. I like the defensive energy that I'm seeing in transition for both of these teams. You knew that St. Francis would want to speed up the game, make St. Peter's play at their tempo, and the Eagles said, sure, we'll fly with you, and have done a good job responding in that sense.
It's interesting. Neither team lighting it up offensively this year. St. Peter is averaging just under 64 points a game. St. Francis Prep nearly 62 points a game. But it's on this side of the floor that St. Peter's has excelled. 51.1 points against. That's best in the AA this year. Michelle, the finish in the lane.
Well, Dylan, I think a big reason for that, too, is St. Peter's, and as great as Kadir Martin is, they don't have bona fide shooters. And so when you have to play your game on the interior, that means you have to defend, and you're not going to score a ton of points. But if you defend very well, then you're not going to give up a ton of points either and always have an opportunity to win. They just don't have that personnel makeup to score 70 to 80 points a night.
But on the other side, like you mentioned, defensively, listen, you've got the best shot blocker, arguably in the league, in that man, Martin, who switched hands, unable to finish. You could cheat then on the perimeter and defend knowing if you do get beaten, now you've got to deal with Kadir Martin inside.
Yeah, good job there by Vera Anthony. You know, the one thing has been really interesting, haven't seen the adjustment yet from St. Peter's. We haven't seen Martin just set up in the post and go at Sacco, try and draw fouls. And so I wonder if that's going to be something that is an adjustment at halftime, because the scouting report for St. Francis Prep on his defensive Martin has been really good.
Yeah, we saw the two big men collide on Martin's cut through the lane. That's a shot off the mark by Monroe. And there's Big O. A little bit out of control there. Hands it off to Faison.
I love the enthusiasm, but you got to give it up to one of your guards.
This is a good one to give it up to here. Vera Anthony, top of the key. Michelle was feeling it from there. Here's Big O on the cut, guarded by Martin. That matchup worth the price of admission alone. Here's Michelle in the lane, turning off the rim, no good. Another offensive rebound for St. Francis Prep. And a foul called against the Eagles.
St. Peter's foul number 2, Jalen Munson, his first.
This is against Munson, his first and the team's first.
Yeah, called with his hands in the cookie jar right there. Anthony Carnaccio all over it.
Michelle, and there's a kickball against Monroe. Monroe's a guy for St. Peter's, number 3, who, of all of these Eagles who returned from last year, probably has taken the biggest leap. Consider last year average about 2 points a game, now up to 10.4 points per game, but also has upped his rebounding as well as Vera Anthony attacked Jalen Munson.
Well, he's a player that is tough to keep out of the gym. You have to lock him away. Confidence building, has developed a little bit of a jumper. And so that's a big reason why his numbers are ballooning, but also the improvement of Spisto, too, and getting set up. And when you've got good guards that can set you up, your averages will balloon as well.
Antonio Morello, number 11, checks in. He's that backup point guard. Tone had a hand injury, broke his hand in the preseason, so it's been slow kind of getting back into the fold for the Eagles. Vera Anthony missed the first, looking to knock down the second. Manhattan, Robert Morris, his offers to this point, 0 for 2 from the line. So here's Spisto, a 3-year starter. I don't care, John, what team you play for. If you're a 3-year starter in the AA in the Catholic League, you are a good player.
You're doing a lot of things right.
Yeah. Oh, what a cut. That was Monroe. You credit Ford with the look as well.
Good look inside, leads to a bucket. And one thing that St. Peter's does so well is they move without the basketball.
Inside the final minute, first half, St. Peter's with a 1-point lead. Vera Anthony tries to drive baseline. MJ Ford says, no way. So Ethan Butler, Hao Chen check in. Sacco Moore to the bench. St. Peter's, Spisto hurries it up. Gets the return pass from Ford. A lot of off-ball cutting. Spisto, floater. The bank is open.
A pretty move right there. Good touch. There's a reason why there's a little square right above the rim. He uses it, and Eagles with a 3-point lead.
Xavier Anthony. Guarded by Ford. Hands it off to Faison with 8. Underneath, Ethan Butler for 2. Spizto from half court. No good. Ryan Woods looking for a foul call, but none is given.
Please stand by for halftime performance by the St. Francis Prep varsity cheerleaders.
Another look, John.
Yeah, take another look at the foul. There you see the half-court shot, and yeah, Chen had his arms around him. That was... His referees missed that one. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, you don't normally see that as a foul possibility, right? Like, usually you just let that guy go with half-court shot, and didn't happen. So St. Peter's with a 1-point lead at the break, and it's as we thought it would be, right? A close game, 2 evenly matched teams, and it's been a fun one to this point.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun defensively. I thought that the defenders have come to play, specifically at the guard spot. It's been a good pace as well. So with that said, and we'll talk to Ryan Woods in 2 seconds here, I think the interesting thing is going to be how St. Peter's Prep is going to get Kadir Martin involved, and by doing so, that'll really help them.
So we're joined now at halftime by Ryan Woods. His Eagles lead it by 1, and Ryan, Dylan Butler, John Perez with you. What did you think of your team's performance in that first half?
Thanks, gentlemen. Yeah, it was tough. It was a gritty half, as we kind of expected. They play hard. They make you guard them in the half court. They defend it really well. Basically what we expected. Tough, grinded out type of game.
It really seems like they're getting in their defensive sets to have Martin get the ball out on the perimeter away from the block. What do you want to see out of Kadir in the second half to allow him offensively?
Yeah, we got to be able to use screens better. We got a lot of stuff to open him up and get him free in space, but you got to screen tighter and you got to use it to your advantage when we put it in. Q's going to be Q. He's going to be active on the glass. He's going to get out in transition, but we got to make it a little bit easier on him in the half-court sets.
Along those lines, Ryan, what's the message to your guys to come out for the second half?
Yeah, listen, the communication on the defensive end, we got to talk. They do a lot of curling, popping action, a lot of stuff that makes you stay disciplined the whole possession. And that's it. Continue to rebound, grind it out, and that's the type of game we were expecting. It's what it is so far.
Awesome, great stuff.
Thank
Ryan,
you, guys.
Appreciate
Thank you, Ryan.
Jumping on with us.
Appreciate it.
Both Ryan Woods and Jimmy Lynch, the head coaches, have both said this is a fun league, huh? You go from Friday night against Zavarian and Nazareth, and now you play each other on a Sunday. But listen, John, that's what makes this league arguably one of the best in the country.
Yeah, 100%. There's no nights off. It's not easy at all. Standings mean nothing. Everybody brings it every night.
Halftime here in Fresh Meadows, and St. Peter's has a 1-point lead. Second half when we return right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
St. Francis Prep prepares young men and women for the world of tomorrow by immersing them in the Franciscan tradition's 4 golden links: intellectual, social, spiritual, and physical. Facilities that are second to none. Teachers who instruct and inspire. Values of peace, love, and respect for the individual, community, and environment. High school is 4 years. St. Francis Prep is forever.
Maspeth Federal Savings is here through it all. The ins and outs, the ups and downs. Through the winters, the summers, and even the spring of leaks. Know that Maspeth has your back. From luxury sheets to balance sheets to dancing under the stars, your mission is our mission. And when our community calls, we proudly step forward. So whether you need it now or planning for tomorrow, through all the twists and all the turns, you can always find us right here in your neighborhood.
Established in 2016, Supreme Hoops Training has trained over 500 athletes ranging from youth, high school, college, and pro. Based in Queens, New York, Supreme Hoops Training aims to provide high-level basketball skill development in New York City. With multiple trainers on staff, they offer training programs that are tailored to all skill levels. Their goal is to develop talent and to continue getting players results. Book a session today at supremehoopstraining.com. Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is over 50,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck.
My name's Grant Vermeer, a member of the Crown Refs community. My first year as a high school official, that's when I found out about the Crown Refs community. Having my military background, I love being a part of teams. I want to be a part of a group that has high standards, that holds each other accountable, but also supports and loves each other, and has a desire for everyone in the group to grow. If you're a young referee or someone who loves refereeing and wants to be a part of a group, this is an amazing community for you. I feel like I've gotten better as an official. I've had a community and friends and support through this process, which can otherwise be a little bit lonely as you're on the road a lot. The culture is amazing in here. Make sure to come check it out.
Brian Harrington is the owner and head performance coach of Harrington Sports Performance and Transform Fitness and Recovery located in Tuckahoe, New York. Currently, Brian and his team have been contracted by multiple schools and for over the past 15 years to provide high-level strength and conditioning and performance training to their athletes. Brian works with basketball players from NYC's highest level talent down to the grassroots level. You can message him on his social media at Harrington_performance and use promo code HSP1 in the message details for a discount on an initial evaluation.
Hey sports fans, did you know Varsity Media live stream broadcasts get viewed by college coaches nationwide? Through our announcers' storytelling and insight on your athletes, we can help your players get an edge on college recruiting. Find out how by reaching out to Varsity Media today, 516-403-2050, or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
High school sports fans, are you following Varsity Media on our YouTube channel? For the best coverage of New York high school sports, make sure you head to youtube.com/varsitymedia. 3 easy steps. First, hit that like button, and then be sure to subscribe. And finally, tap that yellow bell to be notified of all of our upcoming sportscasts. Thank you for following Varsity Media on YouTube.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
St. Francis Prep prepares young men and women for the world of tomorrow by immersing them in the Franciscan tradition's 4 golden links: intellectual, social, spiritual, and physical. Facilities that are second to none. Teachers who instruct and inspire. Values of peace, love, and respect for the individual, community, and environment. High school is 4 years. St. Francis Prep is forever.
Welcome back to St. Francis Prep here in Fresh Meadows, Queens. Dylan Butler, John Perez, our entire Varsity Media crew with you. An entertaining and close first half with St. Peter's leading it by 1. Quick look at some of the leading scorers, John, in this one. And balanced, as we expected, throughout these teams. Kadir Martin leading St. Peter's with 8. He had Spisto, Monroe, and Ford with 4 apiece as well. Jack Clancy knocked down the triple. Tyler Michelle for St. Francis Prep leading the way there. 8 points for him, 6 for Faison, and then a 4 for Veer Anthony as well. And we have a busy stretch of games for you on the Varsity Media Sports Network. It includes a battle in Nassau County as Farmingdale, Port Washington face off. That'll be Wednesday. You're on the call with that one with Brian Reichert. And how about this same St. Francis Prep team going up to the Bronx, the Ravens' Nest? They'll honor Alan Ray in that one, St. Ray's, and that should be another great Catholic League showdown. St. Dom's, St. John the Baptist, Chaminade, Holy Trinity. Maybe a little bit of an appetizer, if you will, for Mountain Verde against Lehigh. And already they're saying, I think it's sold out at Hofstra. Baptist, Chaminade, St. Anthony. That's always a fun one. All those games right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Yeah, that's a rescheduled game, Chaminade, St. Anthony's, and there is Jimmy Lynch cooking it up. Obviously, we'll see his program again, and what he hopes is 3 more times, not just next weekend, but then in the BQ finals and the city final this year. And, I always wonder if Jimmy Lynch just has a closet full of the vest and the
well, that's an ode. That's
no, I know it's an ode, but yeah. I want to know if he went to The Rock and said, all right, give me 5 of each, and he just pulls them out like Superman every day.
Yeah, I mean, listen, The Rock is no longer in business, right? So maybe you got a clearance sale from them, but of course followed the late, great Tim Leary as head coach, and Leary's name, you could see it here a little bit to the left there. Tim Leary, Jane Modry, both former head coaches here at the Prep, and Leary, of course, 646 wins in 43 years. Unfortunately died in 2018 after more than a year-long battle with gallbladder cancer. He was 73 years old, won the A championship in 92, reached the AA championship in 97. At the time of his death, he had the 7th most wins in New York State history and 2nd in the Catholic League behind the immortal Jack Curran from Archbishop Malloy.
Something about those Queens coaches that pile up a lot of wins.
Well, even I was about to say, I mean, another comparison between these programs, like Charlie Driscoll. Such a long history there, and both of these guys playing as well for those coaches and learning on the younger level from those guys and taking over for 2 legends. Hao Chen up top. Hands off to Michelle. Gets it to Faison. Attacks. Terrific defense, and Faison still gets 2 points.
Love the aggressiveness of Faison and a good body position as well to get a little bit of space and sink the runner.
And, John, you can see Morrell, too, just kind of put his heads up. Like, what do I have to do here? I defended that perfectly as Munson attacks the rim. His first points of this game. He's a guy, one of the captains of this team, averaging 12 a game.
And one of his tools is that he can get to the rim and finish, and that was not the case in the first half. Good offensive foul there, moving screen. I think that's going to go against Moore.
Yeah, that is his first. Munson and Kadir Martin were 2 transfers last year for Ryan Woods. Both came from Curtis. And now another foul called. And this one against Chen.
I always thought that was the big rivalry there, right? And, of course, you've got that great Thanksgiving Eve game of Curtis and St. Peter's at CSI, which is a very underrated gym now in the ECC. It was CUNYAC school forever.
Good job by Michelle, forcing Spizto out. Spizto just barely stayed in. Martin puts it on the floor. Gets it back to Spizto. They play a 2-man game. And then how wild was it where Woods' first game as head coach and the first game for both Munson and Kadir Martin was against Curtis, of course, as Munson finishes inside. Veer Anthony, nice move, lefty layup, switched hands, can't get it to fall. Michelle, a no look. Veer Anthony, oh, what a play by Veer Anthony. He avoids Kadir Martin to get 2 inside.
Good reverse layup there, and Veer Anthony just moves so well without the ball, and I think his knowledge as a point guard allows him to know what seems to run, how to get himself free, and help there.
Munson back out to Monroe. Spizto attacks, a little bit out of control there. He wants the foul call, and Martin gets his big mitts on that loose ball. Couple changes, or one change, as Ethan Butler checks back in for Nigel Moore. So you get it a little bit bigger with Butler, and sophomore transferred in from the Dwight School this year, 6'5", 190. There he is on the high blocks, and Spizto called for holding Michelle on his way to the basket.
Eagles foul on number 1, Michael Spizto is first. Team's first.
Neither team, as much as they battle and as physical as both teams want to play, nobody just yet into foul trouble. It's been a cleanly played game.
It's been cleanly played. The officials have let them play on too, which certainly helps two defensive-minded teams, or at least one defensive-minded team in St. Peter's. And
here's Munson. Spizto off the screen. Attacks again, stripped by Veer Anthony, but Anthony unable to hold on to that ball, and the Eagles fortunate to maintain possession. Veer Anthony, another one of those gym rats. Hao Chen battling Martin. Martin, oh, terrific cut. Finds Monroe.
Love the way that Monroe ran without the ball, filled his lane, went right down Broadway. And, that's where St. Francis Prep wants Kadir Martin to play, out on the mid-range. And that's where St. Peter's has to adapt. And I know one point of emphasis that Wood said is get Martin more involved, but you could get him involved as a facilitator.
Tough shot by Michelle. Anthony grabs a rebound, attacks the rim, and a foul was called on the way there.
Yeah, fortunate to get the foul call in St. Francis Prep's favor, but that's a 3-on-1 right there. You would think the veteran in Anthony, who's a good distributor, would have found an open man. But either way, still a chance to get some points back.
Yeah, Veer Anthony missed his only 2 free throws that he's taken in this one. Unable to knock down his third. Another look.
Here, take a look at the man advantage for St. Francis Prep. You've got 2 down low. You good options there. You got Chen, you got Ethan Butler.
I was going to credit, though, Jalen Munson read that passing lane to Chen. So I think that closed a lot quicker than even we were able to see as Veer Anthony's struggles from the free throw line continue. Here's Monroe guarded by Butler. Spizto. Kadir Martin. They move it around the perimeter, do the Eagles. Kadir. And Hao Chen bats that one down. Sacco back in the game. He'll replace Butler.
I love the wingspan of Hao Chen. 6'5", is only growing, and now you add to that defensive presence with Sacco.
And he makes a lot of those plays that don't necessarily show up on a score sheet. Good up fake there as Morello was fouled on his way there.
Right, and that's the thing. Nobody is counting deflections on an official box score, but the assistant coaches notice, Jimmy Lynch notices, and it'll gain you a ton of playing time.
And he's that charge guy as well, right? Sets good screens. All of those seemingly little plays that lead to bigger plays.
You'll see the foul again. Yeah, and there's the hold right there on Michelle grabbing the jersey, and 1 for 2 at the line. Morello.
Now to let Martin back in the game. 6'5" freshman. There are a lot of young bucks on this court. Faison and Sacco, both sophomores. And there's Sacco down low and a traveling violation.
Yeah, he didn't look comfortable, put the ball on the deck, and was in no man's land.
Kadir Martin. I'll tell you, hit one of those playgrounds in Staten Island, I'll take the Martin boys.
Yeah, not bad.
Or maybe play 3-on-3 against Bizzo to run the point.
I'll take the Ledlums, but that's cheating.
Yeah, Chris not in the house. Of course, he's at St. John's. And Aiden, one of those dual sport athletes for St. Peter's on the football team as well, and basketball.
Chris was a heck of a football player as well. You could have made the argument that he was the best player in the CHSFL.
Opted to go the basketball route, went to Harvard, and now into the portal to St. John's. Sacco off the mark for 3. Part of the reawakening at St. John's. A little bit sloppy right now between both teams. Nolan Raymond, the steal, ahead of the field to Anthony. Nice touch pass as Faison finishes down low.
Yeah, Jimmy Lynch, and somebody had to call a timeout there with all the discombobulation. But Faison, good job getting up the floor in an open space as St. Francis Prep takes the timeout there.
30-second timeout, so we'll keep it right here. A reminder, both in Nassau County and here as well in the Catholic League, we've got your playoffs, and they are just around the corner. The Archdiocese and the Brooklyn Queens Championship start things off, and then you get into the intersectionals, finishing up on that Sunday afternoon, that daylight savings day up at Rose Hill in Fordham. All these games right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. We'll take you right to the end. And we'll be back here as well for the Brooklyn Queens Championship, and who might be there, and pretty good odds that Christ the King will be, but who they'll face is an interesting one, right? Will it be St. Francis Prep or maybe Nazareth? Nazareth just beat the Terriers here Friday night. Boy, Irvin's really got his guys going in their first year in the AA.
And what would that mean to Nazareth to play up? Remember, they were knocking on the door of an undefeated season not too long ago, and chance to win a Brooklyn Queens would be immense for that program.
Especially in their first year in the AA. You know, there's always questions about a program. You know, can you take that leap? Can you deal with the battles day in and day out in the AA? Good defense by Martin. Sacco, another opportunity, finishes.
Yeah, good job by Sacco there to diligently stay with it for his first points of the contest. And you're right with Nazareth. Were they going to go undefeated? No, as Martin draws the foul, but can they compete? Resoundingly, yes.
So Michelle picks up his third. He's the only player out there with more than 2 fouls. No free passes down low, so Martin will go back to the line.
Let's take another look at Martin. Yeah, that's where you want him, right underneath the basket. Draws the foul. Not much that you could do for Michelle. You don't want to give him an easy bucket here, but it just seems the way that this offensive pace is going, Dylan, that the first team to 50 points will win. So maybe you just give Martin the points there and move on down.
Yeah, again, both teams throughout this season, St. Peter's 14-5, 3 ball off the mark. Veer Anthony attacks it to get the rebound, fouled getting there. St. Francis Prep 12-6, so you've got like an 18-19 game body of work, and both just over 60 points a game. So they're not lining it up like Stepanak scoring triple figures in games, that is for sure.
Boogie Flan ain't walking through that door.
Rejection by Martin. Go the other way. And a foul called by Raymond.
I love the aggressiveness of Ford getting up the floor, already in third gear, going to fourth gear. And how about the transfer from Stepanak, 1v1. And yeah, Raymond, good idea there, trying to get the jump ball, but never was able to get a hold on the basketball, and that leads to his foul.
Yeah, Boogie Flan not walking the door, but MJ Ford did. The transfer from Stepanak, as you mentioned before, physical, tough, athletic guard, and a guy for Ryan Woods has really added some important depth to that guard position. Was one of two. 2-point lead for the Eagles. A lot of times in games, John, we're talking about 10-0 runs and 14-2 runs. Not in this one. It has been back and forth in a charge called against Veer Anthony.
You know, Dylan, a 10-0 run might win the game. The way that this pace has been going, and you can see the frustration there with Anthony. And
hey, it's been a struggle for Anthony on the offense. He's done his work, I feel like, defensively, but missing his shots and a little bit off, and it has been hard for him today.
Well, that's the thing. Both teams have defended extremely well.
Big Q and Big O says, not today. He'll take that foul. Doesn't want to give up the flush.
Well, that's what Martin can do. We get to the rack, and Sacco, not really much that he could do. With that said, send Martin back to the line, make him earn these points.
Knocks down the first.
Well, this is the matchup that we wanted to see, Sacco against Martin, and Sacco reaching early and then right on the arm. Jimmy Nolan has to call that one right in front of him.
You like what Martin did there, too. Just get that interior step on Big O. This time knocks down both. And a 4-point lead, which feels like a large one at this point inside the final minutes of this third quarter. Faison. It's been some offensive struggles for St. Francis Prep. Scored only 6 points in the second quarter compared to 18 in the first. Sacco, another look. And that one looks like it went off the hands of Chen. No. They say it goes the other way.
Well, and that's just the case of Kadir Martin defending without fouling, doing a good job disrupting Sacco, not making it easy.
Shot clock is off. Faison tries to cut around. Sacco attempts the three off the mark. Here's Ford guarded by Anthony. Ford pumps the brakes. Puts it in reverse. 12 seconds. An 8. And a timeout called. How important is every possession? 30 called by Ryan Woods.
Well, it seemed like the Eagles had an idea of attacking the basket. Then they saw the defense that St. Francis Prep lined up in. Ryan Woods wasn't too comfortable with his team handling the rock. Calls a timeout, and they'll draw it up.
St. Peter's, of course, dealing with the unimaginable tragedy, the death of young Rory Di Cristoforo. Our thoughts and prayers certainly go out to her dad, Mark, one of the really good guys in this league, full of a lot of good guys. And if you want to donate to the GoFundMe, there's the information below. You can hit that QR code there. And just 7 years old, tragically died in a house fire on New Year's Day. And the St. Peter's community, it seems like every step of the way. It was at Stepanak last week here before the game, moment of silence, prayer as well. 3-point shot off the mark. And that does it for the third quarter. So St. Peter's, a 4-point lead heading into the final 8. We'll bring it to you right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Hey, it's Isaiah Hartenstein. You're watching Varsity Media.
Established in 2016, Supreme Hoops Training has trained over 500 athletes ranging from youth, high school, college, and pro. Based in Queens, New York, Supreme Hoops Training aims to provide high-level basketball skill development in New York City. With multiple trainers on staff, they offer training programs that are tailored to all skill levels. Their goal is to develop talent and to continue getting players results. Book a session today at supremehoopstraining.com.
And we welcome you back to St. Francis Prep. Sounds like there is a birthday among the cheerleaders here at St. Francis Prep. So we'll say happy birthday. Dylan Butler, John Perez with you, our entire varsity media crew, bringing you to the final 8 minutes of this one. St. Peter's with a 4-point lead, trying to go back-to-back in the Catholic League with wins. That's not easy to do on the road. They won at Xaverian Friday night, and they take a lead into the fourth quarter here at St. Francis Prep this afternoon.
Yeah, and, if you were to look at the keys to the game at the beginning of the game, St. Peter's has done a fantastic job contributing on all ends. Defensively, making Vera Anthony uncomfortable, and defending in transition. High marks for Ryan Woods and his team on the road.
We'll show you the St. Peter's schedule here real quick, and not a lot on it, right? You play Holy Cross at home, and then it's part of that Staten Island High School League tournament, which will lead them into, they'll play 3 games there, and that'll lead them right into the Archdiocese playoffs. It's a Staten Island league that they've won for 5 consecutive years. They beat St. Joe's C last year, 39-34.
They're like the Villanova of Staten Island.
Playing in the Big Six, right, a little bit?
Yeah. Well, when Villanova was good. V's down. First sweep since 93 for the Johnnies.
Yeah, should I say what year that was for me at St. John's? That was my freshman year.
Yeah, that was 100 years ago.
Thanks.
I was alive, too.
Spizto. Hands off. But that Staten Island High School League tournament, it's interesting, right? Because, listen, Ryan Wood's trying to build a program to battle the likes of Stepanak and Christ the King and St. Raymond's. And what do all those teams have in common? They have those big out-of-town tournaments. They play a regional/national schedule. And it's an interesting conundrum for Ryan Woods and St. Peter's because you have to play those Staten Island High School League games, and those are your non-league games now for the Catholic League. So you don't have the opportunity to play maybe up at Hoop Hall or in other areas. They did go to the beach ball, and they won 2 out of their 3 games there, but that was their only competition outside of the city.
I think that's a great point, that maybe the Catholic League comes in and thinks about it, because you do want to cultivate local rivalries and keep tradition, but at the same time you want to elevate the league and continue to elevate it as the best league in the country. So there's got to be some marriage there that works as Michelle gets the bucket.
Michelle now in double digits with 10. And for the lower level teams, the Farrells and the Moores and the C's, it's pretty easy because a lot of those games also then would count as your league games.
Right.
As Spizto halted there at the foul line by Peter Anthony, but not the case for St. Peter's, the only AA team among those. And a charge was called. And who draws it? Hao Chen.
Well, good job right there, because that's not where you want Martin to catch the ball, and Chen that time was waiting for it, sets his feet, draws the charge.
And again, he's good for a couple of those a game, those batting passes in the passing lane and making the right play. Sometimes even that hockey assist on the offensive side of things. Here's Raymond, pulls up, elbow, jumper is good.
It's really good off the dribble, Raymond. Someone that can bring some energy, and he's trying to spark St. Francis Prep, who they're playing like they're in quicksand.
Well, again, that's the last 2 quarters. Kadir Martin!
Well, look out. Martin that time didn't see a defender that he could barrel over, and his eyes lit up. A two-handed jam.
His first dunk of this one, 13 now for Kadir Martin. And you're right about the Terriers, as Hao Chen steps up for a 3. Batting the rebound back was Vera Anthony. And Anthony gets to the hole for 2.
Yeah, resiliently Anthony at times could be a pass-first guy, but starting to sense the situation, wants to take it into his own.
You look at the scoring, right? It was 18 in the first quarter, so the Terriers were out and running. And then it was 6 in the second, 8 in the third. Kadir Martin, low blocks, trying to knock back down Hao Chen. Uses his muscle, and he's fouled on his way up. Chen's third.
Well, that's the thing when you're Chen and trying to draw a charge or defend here, and not easy against Martin now. Couldn't draw the charge there and had a case, but either way, picks up number 3.
Another made free throw for Kadir Martin, a guy who doesn't get hurried up. He's never flustered when the pressure of the doubles come, and finishes with both hands. Has really shown that next level ability, especially this year in his senior year.
And that's what the good players do, and someone who's got MAC level talent, you want to see him start putting it together.
Here, Anthony's another guy who's got MAC level talent. Kick out, Faison off the rim, no good. Kadir Martin battles for the rebound and wins that one. Went off of Chen. St. Peter's, from really that second quarter on, has led. Here's Spizto. Splits defenders, pulls up, foul line, no good. Michelle gets the rebound. But look how quickly St. Peter's gets back on defense. Rejection number 2 by Kadir Martin. And then a foul called on Faison, halting Monroe's ability to get up the court.
Yeah, Faison caught between a rock and a hard place, and there he is bumping Monroe, and good presence by Monroe to run into Faison, draw the foul, and keep possession for the Eagles.
Munson, a little pick and pop. Didn't get it to Martin, though. Here's Ford to Kadir. Spizto popping out. Martin puts it on the court. Still found the way to keep the ball. Monroe. Here's Ford on the baseline. 9 on the shot clock. Spizto rims around that 3 attempt and no good.
Had some space. Spizto a little upset with himself. Felt that he could have had that one back. And either way, like the open shot, though.
Faison! And the Terriers have their first lead in a long time. 13 now for Faison. Now the defensive intensity steps up, and Faison gets his hands on it. Loose ball. It will go St. Peter's way.
And that's the thing with Faison. He's a hooper, right? And someone who has a quick memory, forgets about other sequences, and is always on to the next play. And good effort by Faison, only a sophomore.
Martin hands off to Ford. Again, it's where do you get the ball to Martin, right? This time gets it inside. Kick out. Spizto goes baseline. Runs into a brick wall of Veer Anthony and kind of realized that as he took a few extra steps on his way there. The game, John Perez in the balance right now. Who will grab it?
I mean, it just seems like the one team that could put a couple of baskets together and
stop on the other side.
Right.
And never mind those 10-0, 14-0 runs. I think a 6-0 run right now might win it.
Oh, yeah.
Michelle from 3 off the mark. Kadir Martin, the uncontested rebound. And now it's Monroe. Lost it to Veer Anthony. And that's one of the parts of Veer Anthony's game I love so much. It's not only never giving up on a play, but he is as aggressive attacking the rim as he is attacking the basketball on the other side of the court.
100%, and good job out of Anthony. I'm going to throw it on the other end, too. Where's the rest of St. Peter's? They got to get down the floor and help out your guard. Going against 3 defenders.
It's now Faison on the ball. upped his scoring this year to 8.4 a game. Off the Faison screen, Fear Anthony from the foul line. He's got 10, and a timeout called by St. Francis Prep. We'll take it with them. 2:39 left here, fourth quarter. St. Francis Prep, a 3-point lead.
Established in 2016, Supreme Hoops Training has trained over 500 athletes ranging from youth, high school, college, and pro. Based in Queens, New York, Supreme Hoops Training aims to provide high-level basketball skill development in New York City. With multiple trainers on staff, they offer training programs that are tailored to all skill levels. Their goal is to develop talent and to continue getting players results. Book a session today at supremehoopstraining.com.
Dylan Butler, John Perez back here at St. Francis Prep in Fresh Meadows, Queens. The Terriers with a 3-point lead, 2:39 left. St. Francis Prep, not much more left in their regular season schedule either. Let's take a quick look. Always a heated matchup against Archbishop Malloy. Good to have that heated matchup here and not in Briarwood. And that's a game we'll have for you on the Varsity Media Sports Network against St. Raymond's next Sunday. They go to Nazareth. And then, of course, the Battle of the Boulevard against an improved Holy Cross team as well. And then they head up to White Plains. I'm not sure. Maybe that game is also sold out. It seems like Pat Massaroni has every game sold out up at Stepinac. And that's how you end the regular season. Brooklyn Queens championships, interestingly enough, John, are here.
No, should be fun. A great gym, good atmosphere, always a Brooklyn Queens final. I have a question about the Battle of the Boulevard.
Yes.
Was it a school-to-school thing? Like, for instance, if the football team won, were you talking trash until the basketball, or was it solely based on the sport?
I mean, when I was here, as Kadir Martin grabs the offensive rebound and gets the putback as well. Yeah, listen, St. Francis Prep won 3 consecutive AAA championships, so it was all about the football back then, so it was very much a football-heavy argument.
But what I'm saying is, so Prep wins football, but Holy Cross wins basketball, but, Prep wins a title in there. Like, are there bragging rights for Holy Cross there, or do you have to wait till the next football season, like amongst the students?
Yeah, pretty much football season. At least then it was. Dear Anthony. Oh, look at a stutter step. Kadir Martin, his third block. And that should not have been a shot clock reset. And that's what the officials will discuss. Anthony Carnaccio, Jimmy Nolan, Kevin Agee are officials, and they'll reset that shot clock to 2 seconds. Dear Anthony to inbounds. Gets it to Michelle, turns, shoots. Michelle off the rim, loose ball. It goes to Clancy, or did it?
Went to Clancy, who got whacked from behind by Raymond.
Raymond's second. 1:28 left. St. Peter's looking to switch that pendulum their way. Munson works off the Martin screen, a little pick and pop. Here's Munson. Martin in the lane, putback, timeout, St. Peter's. 8 points in this quarter for Mr. Martin. And he had 11 through 3, so you did the math. That's 19 points in a game where there's not a lot of scoring.
Well, here's the thing. It's not easy to stop Martin, obviously, as Chow in a tough position. But how about Martin amongst 2 defenders getting the rebound, tapping it back in? Well, you can't teach size, and it's good to have it for Mr. Martin.
And Kadir Martin would love to get St. Peter's going in the Archdiocese playoffs. We know that's ahead. We'll take a look at the standings. And, yeah, no surprise there who's on top, right? Stepinac. They've swept their season series with St. Raymond's, and Listen, the Archdiocese playoffs, always very interesting. We'll see kind of who, obviously heavily favored there is Stepanak, but, who will they face in the championship? I wouldn't even rule out a St. Peter's team the way they play defense.
No, I think anybody in the New York AA could give Stepanak a run for their money. It's a competitive side of the bracket, and of course Cardinal Hayes knocking off Price the King recently. King obviously on top in the Brooklyn Queens.
And Nazareth, probably the most interesting among that group there, coming in at second. We mentioned before Holy Cross, Billy Turnage leading Holy Cross there, so we'll see. Maybe they can make some noise, but certainly you'd say it's top heavy here. Christ the King, Nazareth, St. Francis. What I was going to say to you before, it's interesting, is if that holds true and you get your top 4 to go through, Nazareth would be the quote-unquote home team, but they play it here at St. Francis Prep. Now, that said, they also just picked up a win here at St. Francis, so that'll be interesting to watch. Veer Anthony under a minute left. Hao Chen pump fakes underneath. Veer Anthony for 2.
Good pump fake there by Chen to get the separation. That opened up the passing lane, and Anthony the beneficiary.
Anthony had only had 6 through 3 quarters. He has 6 in this quarter alone. The defensive play, it was Chen to Faison. Faison doubled and fouled by Ford. How about Veer Anthony, man, getting to the basket. Now you got to play catch up if you're St. Peter's. You're still 2 fouls away from putting St. Francis Prep on the foul line.
Well, and I think very smartly having Anthony inbound the ball, your best passer.
And now Michelle fouled by Monroe, and the next St. Peter's foul. And the shot clock is off at this point as well, with 31:8 left on the game clock, will result in free throws.
Not sure if the ball will get back to Anthony, but it's not the worst thing in the world if he does receive. He's had his struggles at the free throw line so far.
It goes to Michelle. He'll hold it. Fouled by Monroe. So here comes Michelle. Has not attempted a free throw this afternoon. Was hot early, knocked down a pair of triples in the first quarter. He's got 10 right now. On a very young team, he's that senior presence. He and Nolan Raymond pretty much. Perfect on the first.
Well, the good thing for St. Peter's is it'll be a one-possession game. Ryan Woods wants to call a timeout, and his team gets the ball up the floor. So you got to box out here. Jimmy Lynch sending 3 defenders back.
And that second perfect as well. Clutch free throws by Tyler Michelle to give St. Francis Prep a 3-point lead with 30 seconds left. So now if you're St. Peter's, John, you don't necessarily have to go for 3.
No, and they don't have that bona fide 3-point shooter, so you want to get Martin involved. Look for them to set up Martin on the low block, try and ISO him, get to the rack against Chen or any other big that St. Francis throws out there. I think that's what you want if you're St. Peter's. Get the ball to Martin, try and draw a foul, but you've got to score on this possession. Then you just play the foul game, hope that St. Francis Prep misses their free throws, and you try and win another one on the road.
A little history here for St. Peter's. They won the AA championship, the only Staten Island school to ever do so. That was back in 1983. They beat Archbishop Malloy 51-49. By the way, the key player that year for Malloy, Kenny Smith, was a bit injured in that championship game, and Greg Pedro had himself a game, 22 points in that one. They won the A championship, beating Fordham Prep in 94. But most of their success to this point has been obviously in the Staten Island High School League playoffs, where they've won 13 tournament titles, 5 in a row, 36 championships overall in a tournament that goes back, and a competition that goes back to the late 50s. So St. Peter's would love to make a deep run. You got to imagine how that would energize Staten Island basketball. And we saw 2 of their teams last year in the lower levels win championships in Farrell and Moore Catholic, and they did it back-to-back on the same Friday night. Martin, no, he's not going to get fouled there. Smart play by St. Francis Prep, giving up the 2 to Martin, not fouling him there, and then the timeout was called with 18 seconds left.
If we could get another look there, I think St. Francis Prep was supposed to defend him, though, and not just let him get to the rack. At least try to contest Martin here. But look at Chen and Faison. They just look at each other, and they get caught. They just get caught napping here. So Martin, he's going to slip off. Right, exactly. And so both of them weren't sure who to pick up on the guard. Faison doesn't stay home. Chen is reacting as if it was supposed to be Faison's reaction. Either way, it's not the end of the world. And for St. Francis Prep, all they have to do is just get the ball in. I'd imagine that Veer Anthony is the guy that would trigger it in, but you just had Michelle knock down your free throws. For St. Anthony's, try and trap, see what you can get. Tie up. We don't have the possession arrow right in front. No, it's favoring St. Peter's. So, if you get a tie up here, there's your defensive stop. But either way, as long as you don't give up a 3, you'll have a chance to tie or take the lead.
We talked about the St. Peter's history. The Terriers actually have won 7 AA championships, 1 in the A's, but you go back to the early days of the league, 1935, 38, and 48. They beat LaSalle. In 53, they beat LaSalle. In 55, they beat Cardinal Hayes. That's when the Stith brothers and even the late, great Tim Leary part of those teams. Tim Leary's team, I think, lost the Power Memorial and Lou Alcindor in his senior year. Little history lesson.
Whatever happened to him?
Lou Alcindor?
Yeah.
Never made it. Veer Anthony, baseline. Got to get it in. Gets it to Chen and fouled by Martin.
Yeah, Woods not too happy with his big man committing the foul there, and I think he wanted the trap. It never came over. Either way, Chen goes to the line now, and not a lot of free throws in this game overall. And I can't remember the last time Chen was at the line, if he was at all.
Not today, That's for sure. Maybe Friday night against Nazareth. Chen, off the mark. Not even close on that one. Clancy, and we know that he's a shooter for the Eagles. And Raymond out to identify him. It's a big one here for Chen. Knocks it down. 2-point ball game, 17 seconds left. Here's Munson. Drives. Underneath to Spizdo, the kick out to Clancy. Nearly a traveling violation. They're all out of sorts. Monroe off the mark for 3. Loose ball. Where are we going? It's St. Peter's ball. We'll see as Ryan Woods will use this timeout. 1.1 second left. I just eyeballed Jimmy Lynch and big smile on his face. I'm not sure that was I think it's more out of frustration, as certainly, John, whatever was drawn up, and we know Ryan Woods draws up a lot of different plays. There's a lot of different looks on one type of play, but I don't think that's anything what he wanted to draw up.
No, not at all, and I think they're going to inbound underneath the basket. So this is where you could tap it up towards Martin. Interesting here with Jimmy Lynch. He doesn't have Sacco sitting down, so it doesn't look like Sacco's going to be in on the final play. This is where I'd want my bigs. Now, listen, Jimmy Lynch is going to forget more basketball than I'll know. But either way, you kind of want to disrupt Martin. Let him beat you at the free throw line if you foul him. This is where the game's won or lost. I'd be shocked, I think, if St. Peter's goes anywhere but the paint.
I'm going to throw another one at you here, too. If you're St. Francis Prep, you've got 2 fouls to give. Now, you don't want to give it in the act of shooting,
right?
Which will probably be a quick catch and shoot. But if you're trying to stop a cutter off the ball, you could do that, and maybe you win the game.
Right. No, he's got options here. But you got to hone in on Martin.
And now where is he going to be situated? Kadir Martin. Right, where is it? It's going to be likely a catch and shoot for him. That's certainly your first option.
No, they want it. I would imagine they tip. We want the lob there.
Let's see where he's going to go. Inbounds. They go up top. Clancy, the runner, wins it! How about that one? Or, excuse me, ties it. We're going to overtime. Clancy buries it at the buzzer. My apologies. Doesn't win it, but keeps his team in it, man.
Good job there on the runner, past Anthony, just beating the horn. Wow, what a play design. They use Martin as the decoy, and Clancy buries it, just like the JV game, playing extra basketball.
Let's see if we can show that again. And as you mentioned, right, Martin now, again, Ryan Woods, in our conversation with Jimmy Lynch, said, listen, he probably has 5 different looks off of any set play. But this looked pretty good. Again, you see Martin 12 there, right? Just looking to set a screen, and you've got to play him.
And then, yeah, so that's where Clancy comes in. And, yeah, Vera Anthony just never gets over there to defend.
And we said when he checked in, Clancy, the kid's a shooter. 5 now for him, and we go to overtime. Again, it feels like every one of these sportscasts we have for you on Varsity Media down to the wire. Saturday, right? At Christ the King, Cardinal Hayes picked up the road win there in a huge one by Magic Mel. Jermel Thomas going for 30+.
It was Malik Fields that had the game winner, and good win for Hayes.
Yeah, his only basket of the game in that one, the corner 3.
Well, Clancy's only got 5, right? So it's
5, yeah. His first basket of the second half. Jump ball goes as expected to St. Peter's. And Jimmy Lynch, I thought so too. Thought there was a backcourt violation there. Munson. Here's Martin. Backs down Chen, soft off the glass.
Love the presence down low from Martin, and see if he takes over in the free session.
He had a big fourth quarter. Vera Anthony did as well. Pulls up. That's good. $14 now for Vera Anthony. Stolen by Nolan Raymond. Raymond pulls up wisely against Martin, and look at Vera Anthony. He is affecting this game, the late stages, in multiple ways. Back out to Faison. Bobbled it for a moment. Gets to the Chen. It's now Michelle. On top, Chen. Front rim, no good. Rebound goes to St. Peter's and Monroe. Clancy, it was his buzzer beater that forced overtime. Martin nearly lost it. Spizto back to Martin for 3. Side rim, no good. Another rebound for Vera Anthony.
St. Francis Prep, if he wants to hoist, let him hoist.
Anthony to Chen. He hoisted on their last possession, missed the triple. Michelle knocked down a few of those threes in the first quarter. Michelle this time attacks the rim, no good, loose ball. Another rebound for Monroe. Here's Spizto. He's got Chen twisted around, attacks Chen, counted in the foul.
I like the grittiness of Spisto, getting up and down the floor. He's played a good game, hasn't lit it up offensively, but a good facilitator and calling his own number. We'll take another look. Yeah, Chen never turns around. Good Euro step, slips past Raymond for the hoop, and one.
And that's also the basketball IQ by Spisto, realizing that Chen was all turned around, and he attacks into him, and really Chen had no option. Spisto, though, misses the free throw. 2-point game. Here's Faison. You mentioned the JV game. That was won by St. Peter's in overtime.
They were trailing by double digits late in the third.
Faison for 3, rims around. The third defensive rebound by Jarrell Monroe in overtime. Those rebounds should count for double. Now sets the screen. Munson short. Ford underneath. Loose ball. Where are we going?
See, I'm not a fan of that shot, Dylan. You've got time on your side. Slow it down a little bit. Probably 24 seconds on the shot clock when he puts it up. We'll take another look. You know, if you got the open shot, take it. He did have an open shot, but you got to make it.
Clancy from 3. Off the mark, no good. Another rebound. No good. Martin, no good as well. And Michelle fouled by Spisto.
St. Peter's foul number 1, Michael Spisto, is third. He was over the limit.
So free throws for Michelle. Knocked down his only 2 in the fourth quarter. Michelle makes it. It's nice to have a senior on the foul line with a minute left in overtime.
It's nice to have someone to make free throws.
Yeah, that is true. And Michelle does just that. He's now 4 of 4 from the line, and those all came in the fourth quarter and overtime. It's a 30 called by St. Francis Prep. 14 now for Michelle. He and Veer Anthony lead the way for the Terriers.
Yeah, Dylan, this game just big implications for both of these programs. For St. Francis Prep, they don't really lose back-to-back games, and you don't want to set that precedent. Good teams find ways to bounce back, and it doesn't always have to be pretty, but that's something that St. Francis Prep has on their ledger. On the other side, for St. Peter's, hey, go 2-0 during the weekend. You faced off a tough road game at Zavarian, get the win. Now if you can knock off another top BQ team, that's just another good momentum builder for them going into the playoffs, which, you know, they've got 3 playoffs. They've got the Burrows, they've got Archdiocese, and then obviously the Intersectional. You want to win these games, build your resume and confidence.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Lynch said it to us as well, right? With Nazareth winning that game on Friday night, they lost both games to Christ the King, so that kind of big win has been elusive for the Terriers this year. Here's Clancy. Inside the final minute of this first overtime, we're tied at 52. Munson drives, lost it. Kadir Martin backs down Chen, turns and gets the bucket.
How about that move by Kadir Martin with his right hand? He's a natural lefty, polishing it in, and boy, he's been fun in the post.
25 now, another look, John Perez.
Yeah, they leave him open. They don't rotate over. Well, Faison had a block there, and then, yeah, not much that Chen can do. Anthony tries to steal it, and good job using the other hand.
Kadir Martin had 11 at halftime. 25 now for the big man. And his Eagles have a 2-point lead, and losing 2 in a row is something that St. Peter's hasn't done all year long, and it speaks certainly to the toughness and the tenacity of the St. Peter's team.
Well, yes, and also they defend well. And when you have that solid base, you're always going to be in games. So they never get too high or too low because they know that they're going to defend well. This is the score that St. Peter's wants to be in. Obviously, we're in overtime, so it's a little bit more truncated. But with that said, yeah, good defensiveness by St. Peter's and allowing them to be in a position in this ball game.
So we wondered if we'd see Chris Ledlam in the house, and we in fact do. Just to your right, John Perez.
Yeah. Patino had a, Sunday meal or something.
Well, it's not exactly like a long trip for Chris from St. John's here to St. Francis Prep. You're one exit away on the LIE. Chen, top of the key. Here's where Anthony, nice spin move, some contact. He'll get the bucket. Now shot clock off, so St. Peter's can hold for the last. Clancy beat the buzzer to end regulation. Not on the floor, though, right now. So who potentially can win this? Attacking the rim, no good. Loose ball. Ooh, Faison stepped out. He was on the baseline when that ball fell into his hands. 3.7. And look who's getting ready to check in. Clancy.
Yeah, Faison just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and chance to win it for the Eagles.
3.7 seconds. Up top, Martin turns the three. Off the mark, no good. How about double overtime? That's coming up after this break right here in the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
Hey sports fans, did you know Varsity Media live stream broadcasts get viewed by college coaches nationwide? Through our announcers' storytelling and insight on your athletes, we can help your players get an edge on college recruiting. Find out how by reaching out to Varsity Media today, 516-403-2050, or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Chris Ledlam, I hope you're telling folks to tune in here to the Varsity Media Sports Network. It's a good one. Here is St. Peter's. Chris Ledlam, an alum of St. Peter's. Brother Aiden on this team, watching his Eagles in double overtime now against St. Francis Prep.
I think he's on the phone with the rest of the Big East saying that St. John's is back on the map. So that's what that phone call is right there. Big one against UConn coming up next weekend.
Yeah,
that'll be at MSG, not Carnesecca. I know that got a lot of fanfare.
And next year might be at Carnesecca, and Rick Pitino lobbying for it to be on Lou Carnesecca's 100th birthday.
Dylan, if you believe that game's going to be at Carnesecca, I got the Verrazano Bridge to sell you.
All I'm going to say is Rick Pitino makes things happen. Opening possession, second half, goes to the Eagles. And there's Spisto. Hands off to Munson. Top of the key for Clancy. Spisto navigates his way. Who's held in the way there? No foul call, but Martin gets the putback.
Yeah, Ryan Woods wanted the foul initially. Happy that the Eagles got their bacon saved. When you've got that safety valve in Martin, who's got 27 now.
Faison. Chen. To Veer Anthony. Veer attacks it strong for two. 18 now for Veer Anthony. Who gets that stop right now? Two very good defensive teams. Spisto down low. Kadir Martin doubled, kicks out. Clancy, corner, three, good. Another huge bucket by Jack Clancy. Three-point lead for the visitors. Veer Anthony attacks the rim. He attacks Munson as well.
Yeah, Munson wanted the charge, didn't get it, and Anthony with the response back.
That three by Clancy, though, gives St. Peter's the 1-point lead in the ball here. Spisto. There's Martin. Good matchup for him. Veer Anthony comes to double him. Dump down low, off the foot. Diving for the loose ball. Everybody on the court. Timeout, St. Francis Prep. Wow. That was awesome.
No, just old school basketball here. Here's a dive for the possession and
count the players who hit the deck. Good recognition there by Veer Anthony, because it means that Kadir Martin lost the dribble. And then it goes off the foot.
Yeah, there's Anthony, Monroe, Chen late in there.
Yeah. And of course, through that whole massive humanity, it's Veer Anthony with his hands on the ball.
Well, the good players always have the ball in their hands late in the game, even if they're on the floor. Literally.
And again, we go back to like early third quarter. Veer Anthony, just a look of frustration. Missed his free throws, missing his shots. But then in the fourth quarter and the overtime, he has led in the way you expect him to lead.
Yeah, and that's what he brings to St. Francis Prep, a stabilizing presence, and doesn't get too high or too low, and rare to see some frustration on his face, but either way, was there for St. Francis Prep when they needed him the most.
14 points from the fourth quarter on for Veer Anthony. Again, only 6 points through the first 3 quarters. Well, we have an opportunity, wanted to send our thoughts and prayers with Sal Fischetti, the athletic director here. His mother is in the hospital, so we wish her, certainly, a speedy recovery.
Sal, another one of those good guys, and of course, thoughts and prayers out to him and his family as well.
Here's Tyler Michelle. On top for Chen. Guarded there closely by Martin. Oh, miscommunication between Faison and Chen. We go the other way. Baseline, Raymond steals it. Woods wanting the foul call. Raymond goes end to end, can't get it. Anthony can't get the putback. We stay with St. Francis Prep.
The officials letting him play. A lot of contact down there. And St. Francis Prep could slow it down.
Chen to Raymond. Michelle, corner, 3, buckets!
Fourth 3 of the game for Michelle, and couldn't have come at a better time.
17 now for Tyler Michelle. And the defense by Faison. Munson unable to get it. Faison harassed.
They don't have to foul. St. Peter's looks like they feel like they have to foul.
No, they certainly do not. Here's Michelle. Swings it to Anthony. Back to Tyler Michelle. Michelle drives, reversal. A lot of contact, bodies all over the floor, and Michelle will go back to the line.
This guy just comes to play night in, night out, and how about Michelle knocking down the 3 earlier, and so tenacious. Only 8 to shoot, penetrates, and drives inside. Good job drawing the foul there.
Michelle at 17. And this one off the mark. His first miss from the foul line was 4 of 4. And again, I feel like I need to mention this every single time he steps on the court, but Jack Clancy back on for St. Peter's.
Now you got to identify him. He's leaking. There he is at the back of your screen. Raymond has the assignment on him.
1 of 2 for Tyler Michelle. 62-59 the lead for St. Francis Prep inside the final 35 seconds now of this second overtime period. Tough one in the lane by Munson. Only his 6th point, and a timeout was called by St. Peter's. A 1-point ball game. St. Francis Prep leads it. We'll take a break with them as well. 31 seconds left, double overtime.
Established in 2016, Supreme Hoops Training has trained over 500 athletes ranging from youth, high school, college, and pro. Based in Queens, New York, Supreme Hoops Training aims to provide high-level basketball skill development in New York City. With multiple trainers on staff, they offer training programs that are tailored to all skill levels. Their goal is to develop talent and to continue getting players results. Book a session today at supremehoopstraining.com.
Double overtime here in Fresh Meadows, Queens. Dylan Butler, John Perez, our entire varsity media crew with you for an excellent CHSAA AA showdown. St. Francis Prep, 1-point lead here in the second overtime.
It's been a fun one so far. Jimmy Lynch now drawing up an offensive play, and same as we've seen at the end of the fourth quarter, the end of overtime, and now the end of the second overtime was Who's going to have to foul? There's Hao Chen and who gets the ball. So for St. Peter's, do you trap? Do you try and get a tie-up? Either way, St. Francis Prep is going to go back to the free throw line. And you hope the Eagles can, overcome this.
Yeah, this one of 5 games this afternoon in the Catholic League. Here, Anthony's got to get it in. Gets it to Michelle. Harassed, no foul. Michelle out of control. Nolan Raymond comes out with it. Hao Chen, and he is fouled. I thought Michelle would reverse it or at least come back towards mid-court. And instead you foul Chen, 1 of 2 from the line today.
Yeah, not the worst guy to foul if you're picking your poison for St. Peter's.
I mentioned 1 of 5, Iona Prep at Scanlon, Zavarian, just down Francis Lewis Boulevard, taking on Holy Cross. Chen rims around and out. Christ the King at Bishop Lachlan, and St. Raymond's at Archbishop Malloy today. And probably all those games to this point probably over. This is the one remaining. Big free throw here for Chen. Makes it, goes 1 of 2. And here we are again, 20 seconds left. Shot clock is off for St. Peter's. Identify that guy, number 5, Clancy. Here's Munson, attacks, goes inside. Faison gets a piece, and then Chen was fouled. How about Faison defensively?
That's what he brings to the table as Chen gets fouled. And take another look at Faison underneath. Wait for the curl, but he was all over Munson. Didn't make it easy. Switches to his offhand. And that's a quick hands, long wingspan for Faison, causing the disruption and the turnover.
So Chen twice has gone 1 of 2, missing the first and both times making the second.
It's a huge miss there. Still a 1-possession game.
And this one is as big right now because at least then it would make it a 3-point game. Chen buries it. So he's done the same thing each of his trips. Misses the first, makes the second. He had the opportunity to make it a 2-possession game, but at least in this situation, makes it a 3-point game.
Well, you like the redemption there. I'm not someone that is a big fan of telling your big to miss free throws. I think there's a little bit too much time. Certainly if Chen made the first one, maybe you missed the second on purpose, try and get some time off, force St. Peter's to throw up a long shot. But either way, now St. Peter's with a chance to extend this game to 3 OTs.
They've got Clancy, of course, the shooter. 6 seconds, though, so it's one of those where you're not going to likely at least get 2 inside. There won't be enough time probably to get it back and go the other way. So who are you drawing up to?
Martin's got to be your guy, although you keep an eye on Clancy as well, who's picked it up in overtime. Got 2 good options up the floor for St. Peter's.
Now, again, question here. Do you foul? You don't have a foul to give, but you would send St. Peter's to the line to only get 2.
I'm not against it.
Here's Munson, and there he is, fouled by Faison. And that should be shots, and it will be. As Munson will go to the line. His first free throw attempts. Good. Now do you dare play this game, John? the miss for the ball.
I would. Yep, they are.
And that's a violation. It never touched the rim. That's why those situations are always so tough to navigate.
And you don't practice them either. Because that's the first rule, hit the rim.
Now you know you're going to have a foul here by St. Peter's, but someone's going to check for the ball. That's probably the guy who will be fouled. And it's Michelle. And he is, in fact, fouled.
Well, it's been the Tyler Michelle show and the Vera Anthony show in the second half. And now Michelle can kind of just salt the game away, knock in both free throws. But just a good, gritty effort by St. Francis Prep. The game's not over yet, but a good job to get themselves in a position to do so here.
Yeah, Michelle 5 of 6 from the line, all of those free throws in the second half. Back rim on the first. The door for something dramatic is open for St. Peter's. That said, it is a low roof here at St. Francis Prep. I don't remember the last time I've seen someone go full court or three-quarter court. It usually hits that stanchion that separates the gyms. Michelle knocks down the second.
Which is why I would have missed it for St. Francis.
Here we go, Spizto to midcourt. Spizto off the mark. Whoa, that was close. But St. Francis Prep in double overtime wins it 65-62.
Got a really good look there, Gordon Hayward-esque for Spisto. Got a clean shot off, just didn't go down. What a great game to close out this Sunday slate in the CHSAA. St. Francis Prep will end the weekend on a high note and a good bounce-back win for them. For St. Peter's, tough to say a good loss, but they defended well, they played very well, and good job out of St. Peter's.
We'll have the Harrington Performance post-game show when we return right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network. Brian Harrington is the owner and head performance coach of Harrington Sports Performance and Transform Fitness and Recovery located in Tuckahoe, New York. Currently, Brian and his team have been contracted by multiple schools and for over the past 15 years to provide high-level strength and conditioning and performance training to their athletes. Brian works with basketball players from NYC's highest level talent down to the grassroots level. You can message him on his social media at Harrington_performance and use promo code HSP1 in the message details for a discount on an initial evaluation. Established in 2016, Supreme Hoops Training has trained over 500 athletes ranging from youth, high school, college, and pro. Based in Queens, New York, Supreme Hoops Training aims to provide high-level basketball skill development in New York City. With multiple trainers on staff, they offer training programs that are tailored to all skill levels. Their goal is to develop talent and to continue getting players results. Book a session today at supremehoopstraining.com.
Maspeth Federal Savings is here through it all. The ins and outs, the ups and downs. Through the winters, the summers, and even the spring leaks. Know that Maspeth has your back. From luxury sheets to balance sheets to dancing under the stars, your mission is our mission. And when our community calls, we proudly step forward. So whether you need it now or planning for tomorrow, through all the twists and all the turns, you can always find us right here in your neighborhood.
We welcome you to the Harrington Performance postgame show here at St. Francis Prep. The Terriers, a 65-62 double overtime win with over 15 years of experience training the top basketball players in New York City. Improve your game with Brian Harrington and use the promo code HSP1 when you DM Harrington_performance to get a discount on your initial evaluation. HSP1 when you DM Harrington_performance. And what a performance, John Perez, it was from Tyler Michelle here, as he is our player of the game. And listen, Tyler Michelle came in, knocked down a couple big threes in the first quarter, and then it became a dogfight. And then in the money quarters and in the fourth quarter and the 2 overtime sessions, you stepped up as the senior leader that you are. I mean, maybe talk to us a little bit about those moments and why it was important to have the ball in your hands.
I mean, my coaches, my teammates always make sure to instill that they're confident in me. So in those situations, I know I just trust myself. Know my teammates trust me. Know my coaches trust me. Always just get the job done.
Can you take us through the journey that you had of yourself to gain that confidence to want to take those shots in the big moments?
I mean, there's a lot of hard work and hours that people don't see when I'm behind the scenes, always off season, even sometimes like between games, say I have a bad game, go to the gym. Always make sure just to keep working so I can make sure I'm confident when I get in the game when those situations come.
Tyler, you guys had a tough loss here just on Friday night, and we spoke with your head coach, Jimmy Lynch, and he talked about how Nazareth seemed to value every possession and every bit of the ball, and maybe, you hate to say wanted it more, but they showed maybe a little bit more today. How big was this for you guys to bounce back here Sunday afternoon? Again, maybe shots weren't falling for everybody. You trailed for much of the second half, but to get this win, how big is this going forward?
It's big. Really good momentum starter for us. We have a big game on Friday against Malloy. It fixes our seeding. We could try to get in the best position for playoffs.
Well, Tyler Michelle, we know the Brooklyn Queens Championship is here, and we know you like shooting on these rims. So best of luck going forward, and a terrific ball game today.
Thank you.
So that's Tyler Michelle, our player of the game. 19 big points for Tyler Michelle in this double overtime win for St. Francis Prep. And listen, we showed it to you when we were speaking to Tyler Michelle, but a huge play by Michelle is our supreme play of the game.
No, and it was a supreme play out of Tyler Michelle in the corner to knock down the three. And let's take another look at this play. He talked about the confidence and how much his teammates instill the confidence in him as well. But, Dylan, this is just a guy that when the moments and the lights are shining on him, it shines bright. And there you go, the Supreme Hoops play of the game.
Yeah, based in Queens, New York, Supreme Hoops Training aims to provide high-level basketball skill development in New York City. With multiple trainers on staff, they offer training programs that are tailored to all skill levels. Their goal is to help you become a Supreme player. Book a session today at supremehoopstraining.com. What a grind-out win for St. Francis Prep here Sunday afternoon. Listen, it doesn't have that Friday night feel, right? It's a lazy kind of Sunday afternoon. Maybe some folks watching NFL football games, but a big win for St. Francis Prep. And you said it, coming off of a difficult loss as well.
Yeah, a game that they needed to have for confidence, for seeding-wise. Tyler Michelle told us about that, and now it's on to Malloy to try and speed up. And for St. Peter's, back to the old grindstone again. Nothing ever gets them down. They'll look to get into the winner's circle before their Staten Island portion of the playoffs.
Yeah, St. Peter's falls to 14-6. St. Francis Prep improves to 13-6. That'll do it here from Fresh Meadows, Queens. Get your shots up, boys. You have an opportunity here, Open Gym. I want to thank our entire Varsity Media crew here. Our executive producer, Ben Turchin. Our technical director, Chris Sweeney. Of course, Travis DeLuise, Ron Pierre. Our A-team bringing you all those great moving images from my broadcast partner, John Perez, Dylan Butler. Thanking you for joining us from St. Francis Prep. We look forward to seeing you next time right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.